Alright, y'all. I present to you the Anomic 2025 Meta Weapons Tier List, the definitive analysis, presented by Nit. Let's do it. First, S tier meta weapons, right? This is how we're starting off. This is the weapons that have unmatched power. They're very versatile. You can use them in pretty much any situation. That means close, mid, and long range. Now, let's start with the Kalashnikov. This is well known by everyone in the community as the AK, but the technical name for it is the Kalashnikov. And most people just call it that anyway, but if you're new, you'll probably just call it the AK. Now, let's go down the stats and see what this has to offer. Let's go. Type. It's a rifle. It's illegal. You know, you're not really supposed to have this. The damage is 24. The RPM is 550. The ammo is 25, which means a magazine. The reload time is 3.3 seconds. I mean, not that bad, but it's pretty long in comparison. Spread is 0.6, pretty accurate. Range is 250 suds, and it's an automatic weapon. Now, why is it meta? Well, this one sentence really decides it. Best overall damage to accuracy ratio for close to mid-range combat. Now, you might be wondering, what do you mean best overall damage to accuracy ratio? When you compare this to other guns like the carbine and such, you realize that while they can be very accurate, the damage isn't exactly there. So yes, you might be hitting your shots, but you're not actually killing them unless you hit all your shots and they're not moving. And then you also have to factor in the fact that your aim isn't perfect and you're gonna miss shots. So you want to get as much damage in as possible. You know what I mean? For the shots that you do hit. And that's why this is such a good gun. Let's continue. Moderate spread makes it easy to control burst even at range, which is true. This is an automatic weapon, but you can still burst fire it if you're skilled enough. 24 damage per shot combined with full auto fire shreds unarmored and lightly armored targets. Now, if you're unarmored and somebody catches you off guard with the Kalashnikov in their hands, you're cooked. Even if it's a bad player, if they can even land just 5 shots on you, and mind you, this is a full auto weapon. And you might not even need 5 shots, honestly. You might not even need 5 shots. Mind you, this is a full auto weapon. If they can land 5 shots on you, you're cooked. You have no armor, and they just came out of nowhere, and within 3 seconds you're dead. Right? If you're lightly armed, let's say you have on a light vest, like you're a U.S. Marshal, you have on a light vest, something along the lines of that. Even then, if they catch you off guard with this weapon, you're cooked. Alright? Now, let's continue. Reliable, deadly, and relatively easy to acquire via trades or criminal activity, which is also very true. This weapon, because it's so good and sought after, it's very easy to trade for it. You know what I mean? There's a lot going around in the circulation. There's not, you know what I mean? It's not like it's a hidden weapon or it's rare per se. It's very good though. And that's why it's so common. Now, let's go to the drawbacks. 1. Illegal to carry. If you die with it, it's gone. It's not soul bound. If you die with this weapon, it's gone, right? You have to make sure that you store it. 2. Requires ammo management due to longer reload time. I touched on this earlier by saying that it's not exactly bad per se, but it's not good reload time. And it makes sense because they have to balance this out. This is a crazy weapon, right? And I mean, it's best if used by about three groups I grouped them in, even though I'm pretty sure the paramedics count as a government team anyway. So I definitely say criminals, government agents, and paramedics, right? Because 1, criminals, when they're raiding, if they have this weapon, they're just gonna shred anything that you have. You're gonna be swallowing bullets, bro. They're just gonna shred anything you have. Even if you have heavy armor, this is the best weapon to go against somebody with heavy armor, aside from like a C4 or something. But yeah, corrupt government agents during high conflict situations. I mean, I put this because there's no government agency that spawns with the Kalashnikov by default. I'm pretty sure the military spawns with the service rifle, the U.S. Marshals just spawns with the combat pistol, and you can get the tactical SMG from them. The sheriff's department spawns with the handgun, and you can get. What can you get with the sheriffs? I don't even remember, but you don't have. I don't believe that you spawn with any automatic stuff that you can buy with the sheriff as well. But yeah, if you can somehow get this off of a criminal that you kill, or you know what I mean, you find it on the ground, something along the lines of that, make sure you take it and just store it in your bag, because you just never know when you might need it. And then paramedics, yes, the worst ones of them all. The paramedics that act as frontline raiders. Talking to y'all degenerates. I am talking to y'all. Because, bro, it's just so overpowered, you know? They have the health boosters that recovers 90 HP over a set period of time. You know what I mean? Yes, they lose 10 HP, but what does that matter? You're consistently recovering HP over and over. They have medkits. You know what I mean? They have stamina boosters. Like, you go on and on. Then you give them the Kalashnikov and you're cooked. Next. Riot PDW. Illegal SMG. If it says legal, by the way, that means that it's spawned, that you can get it with the government role. Let's go through the stats. 12 damage, 700 RPM, 25 bullets in the magazine, 2-second reload time, 0.9 spread, 250 stud range, and automatic fire mode. Right. Why is it meta? Well, if we want to go there, per se, this is the best fully automatic legal weapon. And yes, I'm saying even more so than the rifles. And I'm going to say why now. Accessible to certain government roles and high-level gunsmith buyers. Excellent for vehicle combat because you can shoot this while driving. You cannot shoot any rifle while driving, which makes them unviable for drive-by situations. Reliable for ambushes and close quarter fights due to high fire rate. Come on now. Yes, and when I say better than the rifles, I mean every rifle after this. I just wanted to add that. And the only drawback that I can possibly see, aside from the ones, and I'm not getting into the drawbacks just yet, I'm just pointing this out now. So far, the only drawback that I can see is the fact that it's an SMG, and therefore it's not really going to be good for long range. Compare this to the Kalashnikov, they have about the same stud range, but the Kalashnikov has a 0.6 spread. This has a 0.9, and that's a big difference. Despite the low difference itself, it's actually a big difference in game. So let's go through the actual drawbacks that I put. Low per bullet damage forces you to mag dump to secure kills. And that is true. You know, that is true. I do have to point that out because that is true. 12 damage for the amount of bullets that you have in the mag literally does force you to. And then you add in the spread and, you know, you have to use the entire mag every time, pretty much. And long range engagement suffers in that. Yep, that's why the Kalashnikov is above it, along with the damage, of course. And it's best if used by U.S. Marshals and sheriffs who have unlocked it, and criminals with no access to rifles but need rapid suppression. Alright? Now, I say sheriffs who have unlocked it because the sheriffs, I'm pretty sure they don't get it until, like, very late game. I think it's 36 hours for them. And then the U.S. Marshals, you can just buy it out the team store off rip. But, yeah, let's go. I believe this is the last S-tier meta weapon. And this is the heavy pistol, the first semi-automatic weapon on this tier list. Let's go through the stats. 20 damage, 240 RPM, 13 bullets in the magazine, 2-second reload time, 0.2 spread, wow, and 250 range in semi-automatic. Alright. Why is this meta? Do I really have to go there? Look at the spread and damage on this thing. 0.2 spread, 20 damage. Dude, let's do it. Massive stopping power in a concealable legal package. You know what I mean? If you have this, you're not going to get, like, targeted or arrested because to them, it's just going to look like a pistol. But they have no idea the power that is behind this thing, right? And maybe I should have included pictures. I might have to do that for the tier list I'm doing after this, which is the best money-making jobs, right? But let's continue. Very tight spread allows for reliable headshots. That is true. That is very true. It is a semi-automatic weapon and has very good accuracy. Basically just aimbot right there. Alright. Easy to replace if lost due to its legality. Yes, this is not exactly a hard weapon to acquire. All you have to do is just find an advanced gunsmith or find one on the ground, or kill someone with it. And there, you have it. It's not exactly a rare weapon, you know. High burst damage for fast takedowns in civilian disputes or government standoffs. Now I put this burst damage by meaning just rapid firing, not exactly burst. And yes, this can kill very quickly. Right? As long as they're not armored, it should take about 4 shots. Drawbacks? Let's do it. Slow firing compared to SMGs and rifles. Now, I don't know if I would put this as a drawback. This is more so just a neutral thing because at the end of the day, it's a pistol, and pistols aren't made to fire fast exactly. They're made for accuracy. So I just put this here as a drawback mostly because I needed a drawback for this weapon. This is honestly too good of a weapon to be true. Though this is, I guess, a drawback. Whatever. Outclassed by automatics in open fights. Yes, this is the one thing that I can definitively say actually, like, you know, drops it back a little bit. And it's kind of the reason why I didn't place it above the right PDW. Because at the end of the day, if you have an automatic weapon that's firing at 700 RPM, 12 damage per bullet, and you have a heavy pistol with 240 RPM and 20 damage per bullet, you're going to win with the PDW as long as you have accuracy on your side. Right? So yeah, best if used by paramedics in Safe 7 for close range self-defense and civilians during surprise robbery defense. This is a very good self-protection weapon. I wouldn't really put it as more of an offensive weapon because of the slow fire rate and whatnot. And, you know, in a game like Anomic, you do need to have high TTK, right? Or low TTK, I don't know what something would be. No, low TTK, right? And this is just not going to do that for you unless, you know, you can just have an auto clicker or just very fast fingers. Let's do it. Now, we get into the A tier. These are high value weapons with specific use cases. These weapons aren't bad, but they're good for specific situations, and that's why they're not S tier. Those weapons are very versatile, and yeah. So we start off at the top of the A tier, almost made it to the S tier, but I didn't put in the S tier because I just don't think that it's S tier worthy, but it's very close, I have to say. Carbine. Let's go through stats. 20 damage, 600 RPM, 30 bullets in the magazine, 2-second reload time, and 0.8 spread. Combine that with the 250 stud range and an automatic fire mode, and you have a crazy weapon here, right? You have a crazy weapon. Why is this good? Solid mid-range rifle with fast reloads, and good for players who can't yet afford or acquire the Kalashnikov. This, honestly, if you're an early game player, right? If you're an early game player and you need a rifle if you need like an affordable rifle and something that can still do damage and eliminate a target quickly, this is honestly your best weapon. This is going to be your best one for a long time. Because the Kalashnikov, it's expensive. It's expensive, but it's very common. However, because it's so common, inflation naturally causes the price to go up. So if you're an early player, and you know you have very low amount of money, you just started playing the game, you're probably just honestly like, what would you be? I don't know what would be a starter role for you. Probably a criminal, honestly. Probably just trying to print money, that type of thing. Maybe set up a shop or something along the lines of that. You won't have enough money to get the Kalashnikov. So this might be your best friend. Let's go. Balance between accuracy and damage. This is very true. If you look at the spread, 0.8 spread. Let's compare this to the Kalashnikov, and well, yeah, you can see why this is S tier. And let's go into the drawbacks. Mediocre damage compared to the Kalashnikov, and lacks the stopping power for high level PvP. Now, this is a very good weapon, and yes, it does have high RPM and decent damage, but when you have a heavy vest on, and more than likely, if you're like PvPing against like a group or whatever, you're going to have multiple medics on that team. Each medic is going to have health boosters, med kits, stamina boosters, right? And heavy vests if they have crafters. This is just simply not going to have the damage and RPM to shred through all of that without being taken out yourself, right? Now, unless you're in a group yourself, or you're a sheriff or a U.S. Marshal, something along the lines of that, and you have a group to back you up, you're just not going to win against those teams. But yeah, quite frankly, best if used by sheriffs and U.S. Marshals before unlocking better rifles. Yeah, honestly, it's in the sentence. Civilians needing a mid-tier rifle without risking a ban-worthy arsenal. Now, ban-worthy arsenal just means like a crazy arsenal, and like you just have like crazy weapons. You have a bunch of Kalashnikovs, that type of thing. You have multiple high-powered rifles, that type of thing. Next, combat pistol. This is the starter weapon for the marshals, and I mean honestly, this this is not my cup of tea. I have to say, and you're gonna see why in just a moment. Let's go through the stats. 14 damage, not unusual for a pistol. 260 RPM, 17 bullets per mag, 1.4 second reload time, 0.15 spread, 350 stud range, and semi-automatic. Now, if you can see here, let's go to the heavy pistol. 0.2 spread, alright? Combat pistol is 0.15 spread. Now, I understand this because at the same time, you do also have to take into account the RPM. This is 240, that's 260, right? But there's no reason why a combat pistol, a semi-automatic combat pistol, should have more spread than a SMG with 700 RPM. That's just me though, personally. Why is this good? Well, aside from what I mentioned before, one of the most accurate sidearms in the game. Now, if we're going into this pistol category, right? If we're going into the pistol category, you have this, then you have this, and then there's other pistols, but I don't want to get into them just yet. But this is up there in the pistol category, and that's something that Anomic has suffered from for a while, is that, yes, this is considered the best, or, well, one of the best in terms of accuracy. This still isn't good. The accuracy is still not good. It's just the best of the worst, essentially. And it's cheap, legal, and can be used while driving. The use while driving can be so useful because if somebody kills you, you can come back with your vehicle, and if you have this, you know, you just do a quick drive-by, and just spray them down, and you have protection in the form of basically a metal box on wheels. Perfect fallback weapon if you use everything else. And for me personally, when I play Anomic, that's what this weapon is. I always have one of these in my inventory at all times, and this is definitely a fallback weapon. Definitely a fallback weapon. No doubt about it. Alright. Drawbacks is it has low damage compared to the heavy pistol. Best used only as a backup. Now, both of these things. I put this here because, well, yes, this is a drawback, but it's to be expected. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to this. And best used only as a backup. Obviously, this is not a main weapon. This is not something that you carry around mainly, saying that you're going to go raid somebody with. This is best used by paramedics and marshals during quick vehicle chases, civilians when trying to maintain a legal image while staying armed. Next, now we get into the B tier, which are niche or early game weapons. Now, what do you see before you? A micro SMG. And this is more so a situational weapon, honestly. This is not something I would even think about maining any day. This is something I would use if this is the only weapon I have. Let's go through the stats and you'll see why. 10 damage, 700 RPM, 25 bullets per mag, 2-second reload time, 1.2 spread, 250 range, and automatic fire mode. Why is this situational? This high rate of fire makes it deadly up close in panic situations, but from far range, you're not hitting anything, quite frankly. This is easy to acquire and cheap to replace. This is one of the cheapest weapons in all of Anomic. You know, if you just go to somebody and ask for a trade, you can just trade them this for realistically about 250, 350. Because this is not a good weapon. This is not a good weapon. Yes, it can kill. Any gun can kill. But this isn't efficient at killing. Let's go through the drawbacks. Laughable accuracy and damage at range. I just went over that. Best described as a spray and pray panic weapon. This is exactly what I would describe it as. Best used by fresh criminals before they can afford rifles in close quarters, ambushes, in alleys, or indoors. This is the only reason you should be using this. This is the only reason you should be using this, or as a fallback, or as the only weapon. This should not be a main weapon by any circumstance. Let's go. Snub nose revolver. Alright. Damage is 27, RPM 200, 6 bullets in the chamber. Or what would you call that? Would it be a chamber since it's a revolver? 2-second reload time, 1.0 spread, 250 stud range, and semi-automatic. Why is this situational? Well, it has the highest per shot damage for a handgun. Critical for fast 1v1 fights if you can aim. This can potentially be an A-tier weapon, but only if you can have aim and you have proper aim. Because this, look at the RPM in comparison. 200 RPM. Compare this to the micro SMG 700, combat pistol 260, carbine 600, heavy pistol 240, riot PDW 700. Alright? You can see why you have to have good aim for this. However, similar to the Kalashnikov, if you can hit your shots, or I mean similar to the carbine, if you can hit your shots, you're good. You're good. 27 damage? You're good. But here are drawbacks. Tiny magazine and painful reloads. By painful, I mean very slow. 2-second reload time isn't nice. Miss your first few shots, you're dead. Quite frankly, you're dead. Because you're more than likely going to have an automatic weapon. You're going to just get absolutely just melted, you know. Best if used by hit-and-run criminals and civilians or in surprise defense scenarios. Now, we're in the C tier. This is the only weapon in the C tier. These are just the meme weapons or gimmicks. I put the machete here. And this is well deserved. I still love this weapon, but it's just simply not good for combat. Damage is 50, cooldown 1.5 seconds per hit, and 7 stud range. Why is it fun and not exactly meta? It can 2-hit kill unarmored players, and legendary for RP based chaos and hilarious ambushes. I've personally used this to ambush people. They've been going to like the depot, or you know, even just staying outside the sheriff's department, like the whole sheriff's thing. I forgot the name of that. As soon as they come out, you just ambush them wearing like a clown outfit or something, and you just go ham. You know. The drawbacks, however, is that it gets completely shut down by armor, and anyone with a ranged weapon will destroy you before you close the gap, quite frankly. If they have armor, this is not a 2-hit kill anymore, and it just gets obsolete by that point. But best if used by cooks turned assassins in meme raids and chaotic RP events. Now, these are the final weapon rankings. This is everything just compiled into one slide. S tier's Kalashnikov, riot PDW, heavy pistol. Why? Because it's the best all-around performance for PvP. If you have these weapons, you're set. Even if you have just one of them, you're set. Well, except for the heavy pistol, you do need good aim for that. A tier, I put carbine and combat pistol because they're reliable mid-tier options. B tier, micro SMG, snub nose revolver. These are cheap panic weapons or for quick ambushes. These are not main weapons by anything, you know. And the machete is just pure entertainment value, no real money making value. That's the end of this slideshow. I hope y'all enjoy it, and I'm actually gonna record the best money making team for Anomic right after this. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.